Okay, round two. Let's try that again. Hello, everybody. Okay, we did it. Welcome back to the Globe Light Lounge live chat, round two. Thank you guys for your patience. We've got the sound issue, I think, working out now. Let us know in the chat. Um, and we could do introductions again, but I'm pretty sure you all know who's in here now. So, all right. Yay. We're working this out.
So yeah, we need to do introductions again, guys. So Brian, do you want to start off?
Hear me okay?
Yeah, hello, Brian.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, Brian Verville. I'm basically here just like the rest of you guys. We're in this mess and we're trying to figure it out. I got in through telecommunication and then I found 9/11 was wrong. And then we went from there and now we're here. So go ahead.
I'm underground. Been an eye now over 5 years. It was on the 30th, 2015, actually, when locally I got to know on Facebook originally, but then it turned out that she actually only lived up the road. This was in a town I used to live in, actually, which is now where Boris Johnson is the MP for Uxbridge to live. So that's interesting. And then he actually became the MP only 6 months after I moved out of there. Now I live back in the area I come from, called Buckinghamshire, just outside of London. I've been on Discord now since November, but there was a period I came on here for a while, and then in January there were some family issues going on and things. I didn't really come on here much for a while, but then I came onto a voice chat 3-4 weeks ago on here. But then it was a very busy voice chat, lots of people talking, so I was listening, and I was a bit tired anyway. But then about this last 2 or 3 days on one of the streams, I've been trying to be a lot more active in the such. Been passively there in the background, watching Globebusters pretty much since the start. But 2015 was I became a Globe denier in May, and then I suppose by about the end of September, I became fully in because by the time I'd seen the sun's perspective. But actually, then after that, say come early 2016, I still didn't know much about the space vagary, all the and all that. Because so into all of that, I've actually got if you go on to channel. I'm there at Speaker's Corner because I started going there recently, and I've got this book that I'm showing it of someone called Patrick, a TV presenter in the city from about the 1950s on the BBC of a program called Live, and I've got a book signed by him. So that's how much I used to be into it all. Wow. That's my introduction for now. It's good to be here.
Awesome.
To be taking part.
Thank you, Lundy. Matt, do you want to introduce yourself?
So my name's Matt, and my YouTube handle is Eagle Plane and Anchor. I've had kind of an interesting life. Been to 20 countries. I was in the Marine Corps. I enlisted 10 months before 9/11. Ended up on the front lines and studied abroad. I went to school in Thailand, and I think that's where my awakening kind of began. That's kind of, I guess I was kind of looking at America and things that were going on in the media from the outside in, and it gave me a different perspective. But yeah, happy to be here. More to come.
Awesome. I think Francesca, I'm not sure. Hello, Francesca, you there?
I am. Can you hear
Um,
me?
Yeah, we can hear you
Loud
loud
and
and
clear.
Okay, I
clear.
have to shut off the other side. Hi, guys. So I'm just here because I've always been sort of awake, except Earth has been long time coming, I guess, for me. And I do mostly energy healing, so for me, I just feel the stuff, and all these guys doing this amazing research only put it into place for me, and it's great collaborating with all of them. I've learned a lot actually since I met all of you, and a lot of things I felt made sense in my brain finally as well. So it was quite awesome. So thank you for having me. I
Thank you
am
for
here.
being. And I'm plaguezero. Yeah, that's everybody.
Nice. So, as most, I think, know that today is a day of activism where we're trying to spread a trending hashtag, expose Bill Gates. So that's one of the topics we kind of wanted to go over and to see who's out there and actually, you know, really exposing the works of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and all the, you know, nefarious, disgusting things that their grubby little hands are into. And then there's a couple other topics we wanted to run across today as well, and that's the London Real scam. I'm not very familiar with that. Justin and a few others are, but we'll
Yeah.
touch base on that as well. So it's pretty much up to you guys. I mean, where do you guys want to start?
Uh, Maybe the London Real thing?
Sounds good.
Yeah, we're gonna start with that.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a little video clip. It's about what 8 to 10 minutes, and we'll go ahead and showcase that now, and then we'll get the discussion going. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Here we go.
And his London Freedom platform, which is kind of a joke. It's pretty stupid. But I'd like to explain it to you guys because I think there's been a lot of miscommunication and misinformation about what the Freedom Platform actually
It
is.
happens.
So, what is the Freedom Platform? It's this
should
crowdfunding
I
campaign
try to give it-
that Brian Rose of London Real put together
We could just go
that
ahead and
ended
post
up raising
the links,
$1 million.
I'm guessing,
What
and
started
just
as an $100,000
conversation going.
crowdfunding campaign that he started he just kept creating stretch goals for it. Like initially, he wanted to live stream this David Icke interview because he got super butthurt that it got banned on YouTube, and I don't think it should have gotten banned. So he really wants to have a conversation with David Icke.
Sorry, hold on a
Okay,
second.
guys, you know what we're gonna do? We can't have a conversation on YouTube. Let's go ahead and throw it on the Digital Freedom Platform. Now, little does Brian Rose know, hosting things costs a lot of money. So pretty quickly he finds out, oh, this is going to cost more than I thought. So let me just crowdfund it instead of using my millions.
I don't think we got
that
to
make
really
every
hear
year
it. So
from selling business accelerators. Let's not call it a part of London Real. Let's call it something different.
This platform is of the people, by the people, for the people. And so we are creating a
Brian
separate
Rose
entity
and his
with
London
its own
Freedom
separate funding.
platform,
We're going to
which
crowdfund
Is
this.
it all on
It's not
the
a
YouTube
part of
that you're having
London
trouble?
Real,
Brian,
even
we're live
though
now.
we'll host it on the London Real website. We're going to make this separate thing that everyone's going to crowdfund. So they crowdfund $100,000 a lot faster than Brian Rose thought they would. And so he goes, okay, well, let's just make a bunch of new goals. So he starts pulling goals basically out of thin air.
But now we're getting in, that was phase 1. Now we're doing phase 2. Phase 3, and I'm moving into phase 4. And lastly, there will be phase 5.
People spent $1 million on Brian Rose's platform, and they didn't get what they thought they were going to get. Because what do you think when you hear Digital Freedom Platform? Probably that it's online, it's all about freedom, and it's a platform. Now, little does Brian Rose YouTube is a video hosting platform. You would think that the Digital Freedom Platform is a platform of freedom that hosts videos or live streams or something like that. But it's actually not that. And it's also not independent like Brian Rose says it is. The reason I know this is that I've done some investigation after a lot of people from Brian Rose's camp started asking me, what's going on with this? I feel like Brian Rose is maybe doing a cash grab and not actually building what he says he's building. So I looked into it, and there's a few things you should know about the London Real digital freedom platform. Number one, it's not a technology, okay? This isn't an actual platform like YouTube or Vimeo or something like this. Brian Rose has done nothing except for rely on different hosting platforms. For example, instead of hosting on YouTube, he now hosts a lot of his videos on his platform on Dailymotion. Now, how that makes him independent from censorship and how that keeps him from being censored like he's always saying it does, I don't know.
They will never ban us again.
By the way, shout out to Equals Cash. I think I'm getting that name right, for finding that. He's the one who figured out that it was Dailymotion. You can find it in his source code.
It's dailymotion.com.
But not only that, because Brian Rose will tell you, well, maybe the digital freedom platform isn't about hosting. Maybe it's about live events. His big little live stream with David Icke was a live event. 1 million people, he kept saying it, 1 million people, guys.
This will be streamed to 1 million people simultaneously in the world.
We're building the technology.
Again, this is about us building something that we can use for the future.
Well, he wasn't building the technology. He rented the technology from another company called Decast. Now we know this because during the live stream, I looked in the page source code, and the place where the video player was getting its data from was from Decast.com. Now, Decast is a white label company. Okay, so what's a white label company? A white label is a product that doesn't brand itself because they want other people who want a brand to come on and buy their little white label product. So Decast basically says, hey, you can come to us. We will give you the streaming solution, and then you can just write your name on it. Right? In this case, Digital Freedom Platform. Right, we'll write that real quick. In this case, we're writing Digital Freedom Beer, okay? But there's a problem with all this, right? Because, so he hires out the streaming technology from someone else, but all the while is sort of saying that he makes it seem like it's a platform that he's building.
Again, this is about us building something that we can use for the future.
But it's not. He just bought it. And let me try to explain what this is like, because I want to highlight the inconsistency here. Okay. So basically, Brian Rose. Let's use a beer analogy, right? Brian Rose is like a guy who gets mad at Miller Lite because they stopped selling him Miller Lite because he's butt chugging it all the time, and they say, hey, stop that. That's dangerous. That's dangerous to your health. And he says, no, freedom. I can do what I want with this thing, and what you're doing is really more like a public utility. You know, everyone needs this product, and you've capitalized the whole market, so you have to sell it to me. They say no. He goes, okay, fine. He goes to his followers and says, hey guys, I want to create a digital freedom beer. I'm going to create it with your help. Give me $100,000. Wait, no, $300,000. Wait, no, $500,000. Wait, no, $750,000. Wait, no, $1 million. And I will create the digital freedom beer. Would you be disappointed if you found out that he took a pre-existing thing and just slapped his logo on it and called it the digital freedom beer? Like, wouldn't that seem a little lame? Like you're not getting what you were promised you would get? I think so. I mean, I think that's like the big hilarious thing about this whole project of Brian Rose or London Real or whoever you want to say is in charge of it. What is said to be the digital freedom platform is just someone else's platform that he's paying for, which means, and this is important, that at any time they can take it away. They can say, hey, we're not going to sell this to you anymore, just like YouTube did, right? Like Brian Rose's whole argument was, with the digital freedom platform, we'll never be censored.
They will never ban us again.
Because they can't do that to us because it's ours.
This platform is of the people, by the people, for the people.
But it's not yours. At any time, the digital freedom platform, which is really just Decast and Dailymotion, can be taken away from you the same way that YouTube was taken away from you. So what did people spend $1 million on? That's the question. But by the way, let's just talk real quick about the cost thing here, because, you know, I called Decast.
Call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurances purposes.
Seem a little, because I wanted to know. I wanted to know how much you're not getting what you were,
to run an $100,000 live stream.
You would get.
And they quoted us a price, basically $100,000 to stream 1 million people.
And the answer is not $100,000 like he said it was. because DeCast picked up the phone. I said, hey, how much does it cost? I want to run a live stream for 1 million viewers.
So I was reaching out because I was looking to get a custom quote on a live streaming solution, and I heard you guys can do white label streaming solutions.
Well, we're white labels to begin with. We have no branding. Or you're looking for a C name.
So I'm looking for a quote on how much basically compute it would be needed to basically have 1 million people concurrent live.
They go, oh, funny, I know the price right off the top of my head because I just answered that question for somebody else, and we just did their live stream on Sunday, Rosec 3. And so they said, oh, yeah, this is how much it costs.
Right, so it would be 2.2 petabytes, and it would be $61,000.
Okay, $61,000
It's basically $100,000 to stream 1 million people.
for about 1 million.
About a million for about 30 minutes. That's correct. We just had one of
Because
those
DeCast
on
picked up the phone.
Sunday. That's
I
why
said,
I know
hey,
the
how much
pricing
does it
off
cost?
the
I
top
want
of
to
my
run a
head.
live stream for 1 million viewers.
So I was reaching out because I was looking to get a custom quote on a live streaming solution, and I heard you guys can do white label streaming solutions.
Well, we're white labels to begin with. We have no branding. Or you're looking for a C name.
So I'm looking for a quote on how much basically compute it would be needed to basically 1 million people concurrent live.
They go, oh, funny, I know the price right off the top of my head because I just answered that question for somebody else, and we just did their live stream on Sunday, Rosec 3. And so they said, oh, yeah, this is how much it costs.
Right, so it would be 2.2 petabytes, and it would be $61,000.
Okay, $61,000
It's basically $100,000 to stream 1 million people.
for about 1 million.
About
That's
a million.
I discovered this channel the other day with these videos. He's called Coffeezilla, and there's 2 parts, but we don't really have the time to squeeze those in. But I'll post the links into the chat for people.
If you want to go ahead and touch more base on it, Justin, because you did a lot more research on it, tell us what your thoughts are.
Honestly, the research was the extent of that video. The guy has done some pretty good research, as he showed in that video, highlighting in not just that episode, but the other 2 that I've put into the. Yeah, there's 3 parts, and it just exposes it more and more.
Yeah, so
But
everybody
yeah,
check those
Brian,
links out.
yeah, I just wanted to bring those to people's attention. For anybody that's supporters of London.
Him on YouTube a few times, and it never really resonated with me, like the platform
Yeah.
he was standing on. A lot of people were, mirroring his videos and whatnot, but I didn't buy it.
I mean, it looks to me like he's, he's just. Sorry, I had to mute you, Lundy. Yeah, I mean, it looks to me like the guy's a pure scam artist. He's backing all of these highly controversial people and topics to get a large audience and to cream money off of all of them. Snake oil salesman.
Just another scam artist, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's all I saw in it.
Yeah. It's pretty much all I got from it as well. You got to be careful, when you're subscribing to anybody's who's got these kind of platforms that are like raising ridiculous amounts of money. You don't know what their motive is,
I mean, it looks to me like.
Yeah, they're all on it together. So there's nothing we can do about it but put up a fight like we're doing now.
I guess we can go on to our next clip if you guys want to go, if you want to move forward. Good information, though. Thanks, Justin, for sharing that with us, because
Yeah, sure. No problem.
definitely, it's better to know, what we're against than what we're not against, I guess. I don't know.
I agree 100%. 100%.
Can I add that someone's just posted in chat? Steve Bailey. The truth doesn't demand money, which is good.
Very good. So true.
Truth free.
The truth shall set you free.
Yes, it shall.
All right, so
Okay.
we now have a few. We could take a few-minute break, maybe listen to some music, and then we can probably fix some of the little extra tech issues while everybody's hanging out and listening to some music. Go grab a coffee or whatever you want to do, and then we'll come back and we have a really funny Bill Gates parody video that we want to share. How you guys feel about that?
Sounds good.
Good here.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Terror attack, economic collapse. Boys, this is really one for the books. Rockefeller, Rothschild, all of the other criminals. A lot of people think that if government says it, it can't be wrong. I'm sitting here in a tinfoil hat, looking at people with blindfolds on. George Orwell's rolling over in his grave. Fascist book dictates what we can and cannot say. Freedom is face down in an alleyway. Conspiracy theory won the fight today. Certificate of vaccination, ID 2020. Isn't it strange? Event 201 and the 7th Military World Games. Mandatory vaccinations, all in the name of a global lie. In case you missed it, on Bill's reading list is how to lie with statistics. George Orwell rolling over in his grave. Fascist book dictates what we can and cannot say. Freedom is face down in an alleyway. Conspiracy theory won the fight today. Rockefeller Report, page 18, lockstep. Supply chains broken, the cull has begun. It's harvest time on the people farm. Ready or not, here it comes. Tyrannical one world government. Digital currency to track and tax you. Try to outrun the mark of the beast. George Orwell rolling over in his grave. Fascist book dictates what we can and cannot say. Freedom is face down in an alleyway. Conspiracy theory won the fight today. This just in from CNN, mouthpiece for the CIA. Stay in your house and be afraid. In 18 months, it'll all be done. Until then, may you starve to death. We don't really care about you. Here comes the famine, care of us, megalomaniacs. George Orwell rolling over in his grave. Fascist book dictates what we can and cannot say. Freedom is face down in an alleyway. Conspiracy theory won the fight today.
All right, we're back. I love that song.
Awesome.
I hope everybody else liked it.
It's an awesome song. He picked some good music for him.
And you know he's from Vancouver, that guy.
Yeah, that's a good song. That
He
is.
doesn't, he doesn't live here anymore, but
No, he's in Mexico.
He's
He was
always away.
smart. He got out of here.
yeah, he got out of the cold.
That's so
So he's
true.
looking to get a yacht as well. Oh, the power.
Oh yeah, who was he talking about? It was the cop, the first cop that came out with his viral video, and he's like, I wanna meet up with this guy. But then of course us, globe deniers out there were like, he wants to do what around the globe? He wants to sail around the globe. Our ears are now trained to catch those things,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Guy's a Freemason.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. Like, I liked the video because what he was saying was pretty, true, and it was a good message. But then, truthers, they do pick apart anything and everything, because we're kind of trained ourselves to in a way. But he seemed legit in the beginning, and then, all the other things started coming out, and it was just like, dang. I was really hoping for more of that, more of these, official people, policemen or whoever, just like the doctors and the nurses were coming out. But it's like more of that would have been nice to see, but more of a genuine, way. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, that would be nice to see. But they always try to get ahead of the curve by setting up the false kind of info and stuff, disinfo campaigns they run.
Exactly. It's like we have these platforms, we have YouTube and all these other, online platforms, but people take advantage of it and they use it to do more harm than good, and unfortunately. Same with like the whole thing with the Lunder reel. It's like it's just a scam to take more money.
Yeah.
It's like with
Absolutely.
everything. It's just like with everything. Depends on whose hands you put things into.
Plus, they use it as an opportunity to start wanting to actual, real, honest people that work within the police force. A warning to show them that if they do, they're going to get fired too.
Yeah, they use fear, and then they use racism, and they use so many different facets to get to people, because humans are complicated. That's the difference between us and animals. We are capable of great things, and we're capable of horrible things. So it's a choice.
Exactly.
Which beast you feed, right?
It's like
So how
we
can you
have.
feed a good beast when you're in fear and in survival? It's impossible. They know this. And then to people who don't know how it works, they think they're bad. So they're very smart in the way they go around doing things. And once you open your eye to all of this and it hits you, if you're not ready to let go of your old belief system, that's when you have that cognitive dissonance, right? That so many people have. So it's pretty interesting.
I agree with everything you just said.
It's just very, very simple. Like I used to be, you can ask my mother, especially when I went vegan and I saw all the horrors. I was done with people. I just said, I don't want to hurt anyone, but I cannot stand by and watch you do this to others and tell me to my face you don't care. These animals are that they are things. They're not things. They're complicated. They have a soul. They're here for their own reason. So obviously, if they do it to animals, obviously they're people. First, psychopaths hurt animals, and then they usually go and hurt people. That's how when you look into it a little bit, you learn a lot of this stuff. And when you then put it in your reality, if you have been around a few times and you've noticed things, you can easily see it's in the pudding. So they're very smart, and there's lots of people out there who still believe one race, one sex, and all that stuff. It's like, get over it. We're all the same. We're all energy. So when you focus on that and you start seeing the similarities with your brothers rather than all these differences, celebrate the differences. We need them. Otherwise, it would be so boring. On top of, we would all make the same mistake.
I agree.
Me-
Yeah.
And I don't want you guys to make my mistakes. You need to help me.
Yeah. Well, and we
We
have
all
to
need to
remember
help
too.
each other.
Exactly.
It's our
And we all have to remember too that these people who are on the top, I don't even know if they're considered humans, but these evil entities that are playing the puppet master, these are soulless things. We don't even know what they are. And so us here on a soulful level, of course we're not going to be able to understand their way of thinking because we don't think like that, you know?
correct. Exactly.
And they do have a soul. It's just they're very low frequency, right? And they're not human really fully anyway. They truly come across as some sort of lizard, or I don't know, like the feeling, when you're next to some people, they're very slimy. There's with these people, you really feel it's kind of like the difference between a cat and a dog, I would say. The dog, yes, will hunt, but it's if you tell your dog to stop to make you happy. The cat is harder. Most cats will just go for it because it's really their nature. So it's kind of like between human. That's the way I look between human and dog. Dog and cat. Sorry, that's how they are. The cat. They're the cat, just a lot worse because really take so much pleasure into hurting, and cats do in a way, so it seems to us. But for them, I think it's a lot that who have studied this stuff. And when I was reading all these books about can your cat be vegan, can your dog be vegan, right? So people actually studies on a lot of stuff, and they're still going. Cats are not horrible; they're awesome. It's just they are predators. They're true predators. We aren't. We only did that to survive. We are very different. So yeah, we will when we have to. But is it our first choice? Does your mouth water when you someone suffering? No. Well, these beings do apparently. I don't know. I just think they're very low frequency. That's the way I look at them. It helps me not hate because when you into
Yeah.
their
That's
hearts
exactly
center,
what it is.
not go for that. Like Brian Rose for me, he gave it away really quickly, and he did a few things that just I was like, I watched him for very little time, and you're a con, I know what you're all about, and
Yep.
I know it with certainty, and I'm done, and I had no, there's people who have been following him for years, almost fighting with me about it. I'm like, look, if you like him, go for it. It's not my thing. I don't waste my time. I have limited amount amount of time and so many hours in a day, and I want to do the best research I can, and he's definitely not it. So I was done with it.
Yeah.
My point.
Oh
And I'll
man,
leave
that was some long commentary. I'm trying to. I want to respond to something that you said earlier before you keep going. If you don't mind, Francesca. I was just going to say the thing. I just wanted to add. I will actually identify as a big cat. I'm a Leo, but anyways, I think the cats are not good. Have you ever read one of those articles that says your kit's trying to kill you? I've seen several people.
They made a movie about it too. Cat's Eye.
Right. Cats actually kill out of sport more than any other predator in the animal kingdom. So yeah, there's that.
I've
I'm a
had
dog
cat-
guy.
It's true. I have had cats though who look at the birds and just look and do nothing. Literally, they would be so gentle. My first cat, when I was sick, she would always be there for me. She never tried to kill anything. So I think even with them, sometimes you have the odd duck. It's like so, but yeah, definitely they're not like dogs. My dogs, I tell them not to, and they just stop, and they almost feel guilty, like they do all those things where they say. Cats don't do that. Like my mom's cats are like, oh, we see a bird, you're dead, and they really go for it.
Right, and the other thing I want is about when you were talking about these psychopaths and they treat the animals this way first and then do something else. What they do to us is worse than the animals. They're able to influence all kinds of behavior out of us through provoking fear out of us. Animals won't do that; they'll just cower down. You can't get them to work harder.
No, for sure. I mean,
Or
obviously,
behave
the more,
better.
yeah, the more up the ladder you go. I agree. I mean, but it's the same pattern. That's what I'm saying. Is they start with the easiest one to control, and then they move up, right? Because a lot of us obviously are not there, letting them control us, and we have been noticing on our own. I've been on my own doing this stuff, thinking this stuff, being called weirdo, right? And when I finally met people like me, I was like, oh, I'm not that weird. Thank God there is hope here, man. I was pretty much ready to check out. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. This world sucks.
Yeah,
That's
and the
that
problem
was
is, you know, selling the lie is the people are buying it. That's like shouldn't even be mad at
Exactly.
them. It's our fault for buying it and falling for it.
when you make it about fault though, then and you start going really low vibration, I always make the fault toward those who are fooling others. We cannot be faulted and not wanting to believe that someone could be that evil. And
Well, no, I get what you're saying. It's they hard. I mean, yeah, they're at fault. They're taking advantage of our empathy. They're capitalizing it.
yeah, and they're making it look like it's our fault, which is their greatest success is in putting us all against each other, making women believe men were suppressing them and all that shit. I mean, hell, I was fighting, but I had a vivid argument with Mark live one day because we were talking about the same thing, but my colleague, was saying one thing in one way, I was saying it another, and we were both stuck in our own, hurt, basically, seeing only the other. So we are trained in this stuff, and we realized that it's not like we lost or anything, but afterwards when I went back to watch, I was like, look how deep that brainwashing worked. When you're triggered, and you're not really smart. You're
Exactly.
quiet,
Right, and let me say that. Let me specify what I mean by who's at fault, and I want to clarify that it's the people that are like our close friends who have you've shown them all the evidence, and they still won't acknowledge it, or they're just trapped. Those are the people I think that are at fault, and I don't have too much sympathy for, but of course ultimately.
Well,
But that
that's the thing too. Is like once you're told what's going on, once you have that choice to either believe it or not believe it or look into it or whatnot, you know about it, and so you're kind of what's the word I'm looking for? The ignoring, I think, is worse than actually, But now you know. What's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys. But that's where you're guilty. You know what I mean? It's like once you know, but you ignore, then the guilt falls on you.
but that's
Right.
where
Otherwise, just people are just victims of what I would call a mental illness. I mean, the globe is a mental illness. If we ever do get control of everything, we're going to definitely identify that as a mental illness officially.
Once you come to that conclusion and wake up, you actually have a responsibility to wake other people's up, or at least try. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Go ahead.
Right, dude. Exactly. It's fucking crime at war. Millions of people are dying unnaturally, violent deaths because of what their agenda. Um, right? Yeah, I'm screaming it from the rooftops. I haven't. If I see somebody getting raped and I don't say anything, I'm just as at fault.
Exactly, 100%.
absolutely. I mean, but the only thing is, they're so smart because they know that human beings will have the cognitive dissonance once you
Most
take
of
certain
them, yeah.
steps. So that's what's evil about this, is that they have cast knowledge hidden. They knew about this. People like Dawson Church, people who have done independent research on the brain, they bringing this knowledge out in the past 10, 15 years. So all these people with PTSD are actually going around being, but the only reason is they have PTSD. They are not horrible. They are just
Right?
they have this mental
They're
state.
That's how they
I agree.
indoctrinated us is through fear. Think about the implications of us making us we're taking these tests and in fear of not advancing to the next grade or having a successful life in their so through fear they're making us write down what we think is true into our actual lies.
Yeah.
Right. And think about this: your memory is that's how they're capitalizing it. The way our brain works is when we have like an event, like we touch hot fire, we're like, oh no, I'm gonna remember that fire is hot, right?
Exactly.
Fear and pain and stuff like that. So they're reinforcing it. That's the implications of the
over and over and over again with
indoctrination.
media, music, everything.
And that's
Correct.
how they brainwash you. And they need to that's why if you use hypnosis, you cannot brainwash people. Hypnosis happens naturally. You get into hypnosis every time you drive, and you don't pay attention to the road. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Music. Yeah. Movies.
The radio is designed to hypnotize and make you angry, for example, right?
The worst part about it, and I think you guys will all agree with, is it all begins with them what they're doing to children and growing them into what they want. It would be a whole different story if we weren't born indoctrinated. We became adults and then they try to pull this bullshit, right?
Work.
Well, can I? Go ahead.
Said something like, if you were born now and nobody had taught you that the Earth was a globe, you would already presume that it wasn't. It was flat. It's observably flat. So right from the bat, like you were talking about, the indoctrination. Right
When I was my grandma was dying. Okay, so I was going downstairs every once in a while to go vape. She was in one of those homes. When I found out she was in a home, I lived like 300-400 miles away. So I would go down like twice a week. I had family members that lived 5, wouldn't even go see her. Anyway, point is, I'm going down, coming up, going down, coming up, and I'm going down like 20 floors, and and these places. So each time I'm going down and going up, I'm seeing people that this week they're there, next week are this, and then it's so on and so on. So I was going up there for about 6 months to a year, and I noticed also right across the other wing was like your OB where they bring out babies in, and it dawned on me all of a sudden that they're stamping them in when they're coming into this world. They're vaccinating them, bam, 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 and then the indoctrination also. Okay, at the end, they have they actually don't feed them. They starve them. No water, no food, and a little bit of morphine. That makes your body cannibalize itself. So they got you going in to the world and they stamp you. You know what I'm saying by that? The vaccines and stuff like that. Then yep, go.
Which is dangerous. And if you listen to Dr. Bruce Lipton and people like that, they actually explain how that can kill them, and that's why there's so much infantry, right? Don't they say it also in Vaxxed? Because I saw it in other documentaries as well. Like this, they know this. They know it's very, but yeah,
I think I was a little slow once when I came out, I was vaxxed. Now, when I got point, my dad was moving around a lot. So at that point, when we were moving around a lot, he realized because every school we went to, they wanted to give me a vaccine. My dad kept saying, "No, he just got one," and they kept wanting to. So he got to a point where he just said, "Yeah, we got one last time. Yeah, we got one last time," and he kept doing that. My point here is, I think once it wore off, uh, and you start waking up, and I bet that's for a lot of you. After you stopped getting it at a certain point, you're waking up to a lot of things. I'm just saying that's what happened with me. I'm wondering if that happened with you guys. Go ahead.
I was never vaccinated when I was just born. I did receive one of those, the one on the arm that leaves a stamp there.
Oh, BCG.
They used to also.
I haven't used them like 20 years, basically. Like I'm against Western shit care my whole life, right? So I knew about the shit. So my doctor back then, he would tell us, that stuff doesn't work, and he would say exactly the same thing that Dr. Bruce Lipton, all these people are showing science. They're finally catching up. I've always been kidding around about that, saying this Western shit care always has to catch up to the real knowledge that has been around for science work just fine. But they want to operate. They want to do all these things because they make money, right? We know the drill. It's like in everything. How much money does NASA make? It's not a brainer. Look where the money goes. It's really easy to see who's corrupt or not.
Yeah, $52 million a day. Masonic and demonic. Bah.
Bah.
25 years ago, my friends and I started with nothing more than an idea that we could harness the power of the PC to create a culture, a Microsoft culture, a monoculture. Since then, you've all unknowingly become tools that have transformed our economy right into the pockets of my pants and had a profound effect on my pecker. In fact, my pockets are so deep I can now pay people to put their hands in my pants. It's also had a profound effect on how I write penis jokes. And it's also had a profound effect on how we live and how our children learn one way of learning.
You got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? It's I'm in my town trying to wake. I go into stores and I literally don't have arguments, but I facts to people, and I literally get a serious look on my face. You know what I mean? You got to do that. You have to. We don't have a choice. Free energy, and as soon as I got into that, there were people around me that um, pulled me in, and I went and visited them, and then caused problems. You know what I mean? So it pulled me out of, and at the same time, uh, like I had told you guys, I had all my computers go. My computers, I had two laptops, 3 phones, 2 smart TVs. The only connection between all of them was the uh, Google. Yeah, it was my Google account, pretty much. Crazy.
They talk so much about free speech
They teach us to be a good person and do what you got to do. However, that means you also got to step on somebody along the way. But they don't say that out loud. You know what I mean? It's a cutthroat business, but they don't teach you that.
Well, they teach you the pyramid right away, shortly, right? So
Exactly.
they kind of,
Exactly.
it's deduction, and they tell you there's not enough up there for everybody. I mean, this is natural. That's what they would always tell me. I would always go, why can't we all be up there? Oh, because there's only so much space. And I would look at them and go, what? Not compute. Quite. My heart was never on board.
The whole idea would be, hey, you know, as just possible in the material world, and we thought that was okay. That's what that is, in my opinion.
They went further. Told you that listening to your heart is the wrong thing that makes you illogical. When there is no logic, when you don't use your brain in the same time with your heart, you don't really have logic. You're fear based, brain alone. So
Yeah,
and this
agreed.
use and they use the fact that they kept everybody ignorant of it, and they use the fact that we feel guilty easily because having a heart means that it's between good and bad, right? And they try and make you feel bad. You were born a sinner. I mean, in Italy, it was hilarious. Like the things, guys, that we would go through, you know? It's like, when I look back, I think, wow, it's amazing that we didn't go bad in that kind of environment because there were things that could have gone wrong, you know? And they do it on purpose. They just push you in every direction because if they don't get you in one way, they'll get you in another. But
That's just like my family. I got uh I had I had well, I had 2 brothers. I got one left, sister. I would say my first brother committed suicide when I was 16. Second brother is narcissistic, bad, money controlling, totes a gun, blah blah blah, does all the drugs in the world, but condemns you for smoking weed, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Then my sister, she drinking, and meth, stuff like that. And it's affected everybody. And meth, especially here in America, 5 to 10 years. It's grown. I remember when I was in Hawaii. Uh, yes. When I was in Hawaii, kid, they meth was growing there. That was like 1980s. But and since then, meth has like, oh my gosh. But you're right, the opiate side of it. That's the other flip side. You have the opiate side or the upside, and then you have downside, like you said, opiates. Like I got stuck in that for a little bit where I smoked weed all my life, then I got hurt and I went and how I got stuck doing. I'll be honest. They had me on methadone and morphine. Okay, so I got stuck in. I was in a crutch. I hated waking up sick because I slept through a dose, and I got tired of it. But at the same time, I'm injured. So I ended up struggling back and forth. And my wife saw she just, you struggle. You really, really do when you're going through pain and you're trying to fix the pain and a lot of it is in your head, but the pain is still there. However, yeah, no, but what I started doing was I realized was I switched to wax, and when I realized that using instead of smoking or doing the opiates, it doesn't take care of pain like the opiates did. However, it's not as bad as the opiates because
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I don't have that like
Right. It's interesting. How another lie that they told us is marijuana is a gateway drug. When
correct.
gateway drugs are yeah, no, and are the opiates when you are in pain. There's countless examples of guys in the military that what happened was they got injured over there in the war. They come back. The doc doesn't manage their pain medication properly. They're addicted to opiates. Are very addicted.
Yep.
It's not a mental thing. It's a physical addiction too. You need assistance to.
Yeah.
So the problem is, their stock cuts them off their script, and heroin is cheaper than actually going and buying the gateway drug that got them on the opiate. Like, an opiates are really just more like a mask. They're not fixing anything. They're just covering it up. And then the one for amphetamines is Adderall, right? That's your gateway drug. Oh, you just I don't know. So many girls that I've dated over these years were like, when they were doing and stuff, they were all like Adderall script.
Yeah.
It's
I love.
like popular in college.
hey, and it's the same thing. Same thing. Don't ask me how I know, but look, that's how good. But again, those are the gateway drugs. The one DA approved.
And like the real science behind pain is about 68% of pain is actually emotional. So if you actually tap on that, it's shown that your pain goes right down in most even when you break a bone. So like Dawson Church website, universe.com, you can go there and check out all the actual science. He's a scientist and he works with scientists, and his stuff is real, is actual science. So it's a lot of times it's knowing this stuff, but when they tell you that your emotion, what do you think is gonna happen to you, right? Right there, you keep 68% of your pain when you can get rid of it just by tapping on your meridian. And you all have.
I had a buddy.
Whole other live stream that I want to get into with you for sure. The whole tapping.
Yeah, I just quick that is I had a buddy also just recently bring that up. So yeah, I agree with having another stream on that because I want to get it. I want to talk about that or at least ask questions.
Yeah, we should. We should.
We'll do a whole stream on it.
And we're actually, my colleague was telling me, oh, we should do a thing on pain. Yeah, there's lots of people in pain out there, aren't there? Because we're all being there. Like, all of us have been in pain, and that's
somewhere or another
why we can probably also look into things.
All right. So Steffi Mori actually posted the Bill Gates puppet cartoon, and I want to play it for everybody because I know that Robin played it yesterday on his live stream, but it is amazing. So let's just get into that real quick, and then we'll come right back. Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's
As your
gonna work
unqualified,
for some of them.
non-elected
Just let you
global
know.
human health
Or
overlord,
at least
I'd like to
ask
take this
like
opportunity to flaunt
Yeah,
my
we
position of
should.
power and
Should.
influence over society and share some of my plans for you and your future.
And
When I amassed my fortune in
as my
computer
colleague was
software,
telling
I
you,
demonstrated that I was willing to lie, steal code, cheat my partners, and exercise monopolistic control to destroy my competitors. Now that I've retired, I can rebrand myself as a humanitarian. With my for-profit foundation masquerading as a charity, I can advocate for population reduction and sponsor mass human experiments with unproven vaccines in vulnerable populations. Like my father, a powerful banker, eugenicist, and Rockefeller crony himself, it's always been my ambition to decide who lives and, more importantly, how many have to die. Whether it's under the guise of climate change or world health, it's really all about controlling and culling the human herd for fun and profit. In November of last year, I hosted Event 201, a war game simulation of a global pandemic. Leaders from private corporations, global banks, governments, and the media got together to strategize ways they could align in lockstep when responding to a worldwide health crisis. Using a coordinated campaign of fear-mongering, intimidation, social shaming, and economic blackmail, we realized that we could get around dangerous philosophies like individual liberty and national sovereignty. With an obedient population, we would be free to implement our own top-down solutions, like forced quarantines, social distancing, contact tracing, and mandatory testing, as a means to seize technocratic control of society. Now imagine my excitement when we had the opportunity to declare our own global pandemic. It was my chance to look like the Nostradamus of public health and to position myself and business partners like Dr. Fauci as the de facto authorities on response and solutions. Through exaggerated doomsday scenarios and computer simulations, our petty control freaks instituted harsh rules and draconian lockdowns. Even after our dire predictions proved false, scared and well-meaning people continued to submit to the arbitrary and foolish demands of their so-called leaders. Having achieved global lockdown and medical martial law, we will continue to hold hostage your ability to congregate, work, travel, or do just about anything until we're prepared to roll out our bigger plan. I like to call this Pandemic 1, because believe me, we have others in the works. Our final solution is to have you begging for us to vaccinate, tag, and digitally track each one of you like livestock. Not only will my foundation enjoy legal immunity and trillions in profits, but these mandatory experimental vaccines will move us so much further down the road to absolute centralized global control. If only my good friend Jeffrey Epstein had been here to celebrate with me aboard the Lolita Express. So remember, global citizens, this will end when I say it ends. Could be a year, maybe 2 years, maybe never. I guarantee that if we have our way, it will be at least until you're not able to do anything to stop it. Just surrender your personal freedom and common sense to our fear merchants in government and the media, because none of this works unless you all go along with it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to do some augmented reality spirit cooking with Marina Abramovich. Bye now.
That is epic.
Yeah, yes, it is.
I mean, if that's a way to expose Bill Gates, that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. I want to say thanks to Effie Mori for posting just that clip, because I know it was at the end of Hibbeler Productions, the video that just got like deleted and deleted over and over of the pandemic.
Oh, yeah. Thankfully, it was found on library. He just posted it.
No, as soon as it was posted, I downloaded it on 4K because I'm like, we can't lose that.
Nice. When it was available for some reason.
Yeah. Right, well, we're coming up now on, looks like an hour and 40 minutes. So, you want to wrap it up a little bit? And then, yeah, I say try to keep them as short as possible, you know. I know we can go on for hours sometimes. We do in the Discord, so anybody who sees this later, please join the Discord. You can come and hang out and talk a bunch of smack with us.
Yeah, talk dirty. We just fell in the mud.
We have fun. We talk a little. I didn't want to get there, but you know, we do also get very serious, very serious.
Food
So
does
yeah,
grow on crap. Food does grow on food. Listen to me. Yeah? You can tell where my mind is.
Yeah, always with the food. All right, well then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, and you guys want to say goodbye, and we'll see you guys next Saturday. Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and leave it with that. And thanks again, everybody, for being here. We're gonna do a little video, a little music from the good old DD TV. Great
Woohoo!
And
Awesome.
we will see you next Saturday.
Yeah,
See you
baby.
next Saturday.
right on, right on. Sounds good.
We'll do our best.
All right. Bye, guys.
ODD TV.
Bye bye.
Your cell phone, your wallet,
Have a
your
good
time,
one.
your ideas,
Have a nice
no
day.
barcode, no party, no ID, no beers, your bank card, your license, your thoughts, your fears, no SIM card, no disco, no photo, not here. Your blood, your sweat, your passions, your regrets, your profits, your time off, your fashions, your sex, your pills, your dress, your tits, your ass, your laughs, your balls. We want your soul, your house, your phone, your life, your cash, your house, your phone. We want your soul, your house, your phone, your life, your cash, your house, your phone. We want your soul, your habits, your fads, your fears. Give us your address, your shoe size, your ears, your digits, your plans, your number, your eyes, your schedule, your desktop, your details, your life. Show us your children, your photos, your home. Here, take credit, take insurance, take a loan. Get a job, get a pension, get a haircut, get a suit. Playing the lottery, play football, play the field, snort some toot. We'll show you shrink, we'll show you spook, we'll buy you drink, we'll away your book. We'll sell you crap, we'll charge you debt. Wanna buy big guns, we'll front the cash. Your soul, your house, your phone. We want 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 your soul, your emotions, your love, your dreams, your checkbook, your essence, your sweat, your screams, your security, your sobriety, your innocence, your society, yourself, your place, your distance, your space.
Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again. Here, watch this. Shut up. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you.
Here's boy bands, here's Mackers, here's Britney, here's Cola, here's pizza, here's TV, here's some rock, and some roller. Watch commercials, more commercials, watch Jerry, not Oprah. Buy a better life from the comfort of your sofa. Here's popcorn, here's magazines, here's milkshake, here's blue jeans, here's patty bars, here's armpit wax, here's football shirts, here's baseball caps, here's live talk shows, here's video games, here's cola light, here's tin morning, here's filter tips, here's collagen lips, here's all night balls, here's plastic hips. Your soul, your house, your phone. We want 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 your soul, your soul, your soul, your soul, your soul, your soul, your soul.
Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again. Here's American Gladiators. Watch this. Shut up. Go back to bed, America. Here's American Gladiators. Here is 56 channels of it. Watch these pituitary retards bang their fucking skulls together and congratulate you on living in the land of freedom. Here you go, America. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you.
want your
Back to that,
soul.
America. Your government is in.
We want your soul. 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 We want your soul.